Welcome back. Now, let's go back to the question I raised earlier. What does the writer discover by writing the first draft? Well, he or she discovers the following: what the writer knows, what the writer needs to know, if the writer has a subject or needs to find a subject, if the subject needs to be limited or expanded, if the topic works or if a new topic needs to be explored, if the structure answers the reader's questions when these questions are asked, if there is a voice and if it is the appropriate voice. What happens after our students have finished with their first drafts? Join me in the classroom and let's find out what teacher Nika does to answer this question.
Mark, what do you mean by this?
I want to find out whether the article I read was saying what I had in mind.
Then perhaps what you can do is to replace these two words. They seem to be unclear. And then you can make sentences to the beginning sentence of the second paragraph. What do you say, Mark?
You're correct, Sherwin. Let me just write this portion.
Hey, Mark. Please look at my paper too and tell me whether my work is okay.
Yes, I will. Let me just finish with these changes. Please.
Are they done with their first drafts?
Yes, they have finished with them.
They seem to be enjoying what they're doing.
They surely are. Actually, right now, what they're doing is that they're giving feedback on each other's works.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that we have to encourage them to discuss their drafts with their classmates. This is what we call peer conferencing.
Oh, how can we be sure that the peer knows what things to comment on?
You see, at this point, what is focused on is the content or the substance of the composition. What is important is for the classmate to check on the content or what the composition is saying. He does not check on the grammar, on the punctuation, and not so much on organization either. Each of them is expected to discuss or to share their ideas on what the composition is saying.
Don't you give them any guidelines which they can follow?
Actually, we have already come up with a set of guidelines. We evolved them the last time we met.
What are some of these guidelines?
Here, let me show you the questions they can ask of each other when they are doing peer feedback. Let me read them to you. What parts of the composition did you like best? Which ones did you like the least? What message do you think am I trying to say? Which parts of the composition reveal this? Why do you think I chose to write about this topic? Which ideas seem not to be related? Why do you say so? Are there ideas which you think are irrelevant? Which are these? Are there ideas which you think have to be added? What are these? If you were the writer, how would you make this a better composition?
They are indeed very helpful tips to the students, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Did you see the importance of peer conferencing? More so the set of guidelines students followed when they conferred with each other? This task does not only give them a lot of practice in the target language, but also teaches them how to make speculations and decisions. Let's make a recap of what we have discussed so far. We have said that the first two stages of the process approach to writing are pre-writing and drafting. In pre-writing activities, we allow our students to write down their thoughts on the topic without being conscious of grammaticality, spelling, punctuation, and neatness of work. What is most important is for them to get their ideas into the paper. These ideas may come in the form of words, phrases, clauses, or sentence fragments. Drafting means composing. In drafting, we tell our students to get back to their notes and try to filter information which they have to retain, delete, or expand. They may start scribbling down as many beginning sentences as possible on a single topic. Then you can tell them to choose one beginning sentence and expand it. Again, don't have them worry about grammaticality, punctuation, spelling, neatness, and carefulness of work. The drafting stage could be a recursive process. This means that a student can come up with 2, 3, or even 4 drafts before he or she reaches the final draft. The student will have been loaded with ideas for his or her own topic. We are now ready to take up the next stage of the process approach, revising. What is revising? Revising is the stage where the student checks that he has said what he wanted to say, he has said it in a clear and appropriate way, and in other words, revising is the most important part of the writing process. Revising involves checking that content and purpose are clear and appropriate for the reader in a particular writing situation. Revising is not just a matter of checking spelling, punctuation, and grammar. It involves arranging, changing, adding, and leaving out words. It is a very constructive part of the writing process, and it is important that students sees it this way. He or she should give revising some time and attention in all his or her writing. Take a look at the changes the student writer made when revising her composition. Smoking is danger to one's, changed to one's with apostrophe health. Although I myself doesn't, to don't smoke. I think I will die soon if I start smoking now. My older brother, changed to tells me that smoking is bad, changed to not good for me. According to my teacher, 10 sticks a day of nicotine and tar will surely clog, changed to congest, my pair of deleted lungs. That is why, after 10 years of smoking, 10 sticks a day, I think, deleted, I will, deleted, may die prematurely. But change to others, say it's cooling to smoke. It change to makes one feel cool and good. But I'm afraid to try. Why should I? I don't want to die young. What changes were made by the writer? He did the following. First, he changed the order of the parts to make the content clear. Second, he added parts especially to link ideas. Third, he took out parts which were unnecessary. Fourth, he said the same thing in a different way. Fifth, he substituted one word for another. What changes can a writer make when he or she revises a composition? First, he can change the order of parts to make the content clearer. Second, he can add parts especially to link ideas. Third, he takes out parts which are unnecessary. Fourth, he can say the same thing in a different way. Fifth, he can substitute one word for another. Sixth, he combines 2 or 3 sentences into one by taking out unnecessary words or phrases. 7, he can make very long sentences into 2 or 3 sentences. 8, he can change parts which are inappropriate for the situation, the purpose, or the audience. It could be too friendly or informal or too formal. 9, he can correct grammar. 10, he can change the punctuation. 11, he can correct spelling if needed. These are some of the many ways the writer can do when he or she goes through the process of revision. What activities can we give our students so that the revision process can be that effective? You will know the answer to this when we return. Don't switch channels.